In this tutorial, I'm going to show you three things. I'm going to show you how to save a DTS that hasn't been saved yet. I'm then going to show you how you can go ahead and run that DTS, and then, should you need to, how you can make modifications to an existing DTS. So first, let's start off with saving our actual DTS. If you notice up on our title bar, it hasn't got a title yet, and all we simply have to do is go down to File and Save As. It defaults over to where our DTSs are stored, so all we simply do is give it a name that we can use later on. And once we give it that name, go ahead and click Save. And what you notice is it saves right from there. A couple other things you should know is that you can also test this job should you want to before you run it, and you can also run it. Now, if you hadn't saved the DTS up to this point, once you click on Run, it will go ahead and automatically move you into selecting the Save option, or go back and make any modifications you need to make. You go ahead and run the job. It'll go through the process of running it. And once it's completed the run, there you go. You've saved your DTS and you've actually run it as well. Now I'm going to show you later on during a different tutorial how you can set up an automated process to run this DTS so that you're not hovering over it every single minute. Now, once you save your DTS and once you run it, you also have the ability, should you need to modify it. So what I'd like to do is show you a modification. Now, you can make a modification on anything you need to. If you need to go in and update a formula, if you need to go in and change the lookup link, if you need to create more data links, those are the types of modifications you can do. This particular modification I'd like to show you right now, though, gives you the ability to go ahead and only run that data that has been modified since the last time this DTS ran. And you can do that, and you can create that modification as a custom query. So if you notice, I went into Configure Source. I select Custom Query, and basically, very similar to what we saw with formulas, we start building out our custom query. So we're going to tell the system that all we want it to do is focus in on that data that has only been modified since the last time it ran. So what you can do is just simply start building out your formula. There's a couple other things you can do as well. You can select it from your list. If it's a formula or a query that you use over and over again, depending on the actual DTS, you can actually store those particular queries or formulas on a spreadsheet. And when you think that you need to use it, you can actually come in here and copy and paste it. What that means is you have the ability to go ahead and build an inventory of formulas and queries that you need, and you can go ahead and pull them anytime you need them. And so what this query is telling us is basically select from the customer, so select the customer record where the customer modified date on is greater than or equal to the last time and date we ran this, and grab those customer records that were modified on less than this run date and time. So this way what we're doing is grabbing all of those records that were actually modified since the last time we ran, and if records were being updated as we were actually running this, it would catch those as well. So once you create that query, what you can do is you can test the query if you want, and you can go ahead and click OK. Now, if you don't test the query before you leave, when you click OK, it will run an automated test and let you know if that query is successful or not. And by being able to close out of that window, you know that you created the query successfully. So what I showed you very quickly is how to save a new DTS. You can also go to this file and save an existing DTS like the one we just modified. I showed you how you can run that DTS. And then once you create that DTS, how you can modify it. And the particular modification we did was to create a query that focused in on that data that had been changed since the last time we ran the system. Or how you can modify the particular DTS. And what we did is we went and created a query. That query focused in on data that has only been modified since the last run. And that's how easy it is to save a new DTS, to save an existing DTS, to run a DTS, and to make a modification to an existing DTS.